Hello students, I hope you are all fine and in good health. I will continue from where I left in my previous audio lecture session related with the chapter birth. It is chapter number 7 from snapshots, as you know. So as you can see, it is page number 66 and I will start from this paragraph. His thoughts were heavy, muddled. So from this paragraph I will start. Whose thoughts are? Actually it is Andrew's thoughts. So let's continue. His thoughts were heavy, muddled. The episode he had witnessed at Cardiff station still obsessed him morbidly. So, what was that episode that he witnessed in Cardiff station that actually obsessed him so much? He thought of Bramwell, foolishly devoted to a woman who deceived him sordidly, of Edward Page, bound to the shrewish blood vein of Denny, living unhappily apart from his wife. So, the bottom line is that whether it is Bramwell or whether it is his senior physician by the name of Dr. Edward Page, they were all victims of unfortunate, unhappy marriages. And he was thinking that what might be the outcome of his relationship with Christine. So, let me continue. His reason told him that all these marriages were dismal failures. Dismal failures means they are all unfortunate events. It was a conclusion which, in his present state, made him wince. Now, he is not happy that he came to this conclusion that whether it is Dr. Edward Page or whether it is Bramwell, that their marriages were dismal failures. This realization haven't made him happy. Rather, he was a bit unhappy and sad, thinking that what might be the outcome of his marriage or love relationship status with Christine. It was a conclusion which, in his present state, made him wince. He wished to consider marriage as an idyllic state. Yes, he could not otherwise consider it with the image of Christine before him. Now, always Andrew was very positive related with marriage. Always Andrew was very hopeful related with marriage. He used to consider marriage as an idyllic state, as a happy and peaceful state. But whenever he is thinking about marriage as an idyllic or a peaceful or a happy state, the image of Christine comes before his eyes. And already, as we all know, that he had a quarrel with Christine late evening. So his thoughts are all getting clogged totally, muddled totally. He can't actually think about a positive outcome of his relationship with Christine because all the negativities, all the negative thoughts are coming to his mind. Her eyes, shining towards him, admitted no other conclusion. It was the conflict between his level, doubting mind and his overflowing heart which left him resentful and confused. Now he is in a dilemma. He is in a dilemma. He is actually doubting. His mind is doubting whether he is on a right track in terms of his relationship with Christine. Is he moving in the right direction? He is totally confused, as well as he is a bit angry also, and as well as he is a bit anxious also. So I continue. He let his chin sink upon his chest, stretched out his legs, stared broodingly into the fire. He remained like this so long, and his thoughts were so filled with Christine that he started when the old woman opposite suddenly addressed him. Her meditation had pursued a different course. So he was lost in his own thoughts about love, marriage, relationship status with Christine and all this. All of a sudden he was being called. And why he was being called? Because Susan Morgan is actually behaving in a bit awkward manner, or rather to say, she was behaving in a bit different manner. So he was being called for that. So again, he had to rush upstairs. So I am moving on to the next page, dear students. That is page number 67. So as you can see, this is page number 67. So let me continue. Susan said not to give her the chloroform if it would harm the baby. She is awful set upon this child, doctor. Her old eyes warmed at a sudden thought. She added in a low tone. That means Susan Morgan, she is not eager to take the chloroform. The chloroform will be applied. She is not eager to have it. He collected himself with an effort. It won't do any harm, the anesthetic, he said kindly. They will be all right. No, Andrew told that anesthesia is very important. Nothing will happen. Both the mother and the child will be perfectly okay. Here the nurse's voice was heard calling from the top landing. Andrew glanced at the clock, which now showed 3:30. He rose and went to the bedroom. He perceived that he might now begin his work. So when it was almost 3:30, late midnight, he rose from his place, and now he thought that this is the right time when I should engage myself with the delivery case. An hour elapsed. Elapsed means an hour passed by. It was a long, hard struggle. Then, as the first streaks of dawn strayed past the broken edges of the blind, the child was born lifeless. Now, the important thing is that it was a long struggle, hard struggle also, but finally the delivery was successful. But when the child was born, it was born lifeless. It was not responding at all. It was not crying also. It was not breathing properly. So the child was born lifeless. And it is something that will make Andrew frustrated. But Andrew will be more determined than ever to save the child, because already he promised Joe Morgan that he will do the best he can to give a new life to the child, because it is their child after 20 years of marriage. So let me continue. As he gazed means as he looked very closely. He means Andrew. As he gazed at the still form, a shiver of horror passed over Andrew. After all that he had promised, his face heated with his own exertions, chilled suddenly. All of a sudden, Andrew became a bit nervous. He hesitated, torn between his desire to attempt to resuscitate the child. Okay, resuscitate is a medical term. Resuscitate actually means to revive. So he was torn in his desire to resuscitate the child and his obligation towards the mother. Obligation means his duty and his responsibility towards the mother. So he was in a dilemma. He had to save the child. That is also a thing that is of prime importance. On the other hand, he had to save the mother of the child, because it is also his responsibility as a doctor. So he is in a desperate state. What he should do? The dilemma was so urgent, he did not solve it consciously. Blindly, instinctively, he gave the child to the nurse and turned his attention to Susan Morgan. Now, all of a sudden, without thinking so much, and giving more emphasis on practical knowledge rather than on textbook knowledge, he immediately handed over the child to the midwife and concentrated totally on Susan Morgan, because now he decided to make Susan Morgan survive. So, dear students, let me continue. Susan Morgan now lay collapsed, almost pulseless, and not yet out of the ether. That anesthesia, that particular anesthesia, she was not yet out of it. She was still in a trance. She was lying in a bit unconscious manner. So Andrew had to do something, and Andrew had to do something very fast. So let me continue. His haste was desperate, a frantic race against her ebbing strength. It took him only an instant to smash a glass ampule and inject the medicine. So, without thinking much, Andrew injected a medicine to Susan Morgan. Then he flung down the hypodermic syringe and walked unsparingly. Unsparingly means desperately, to restore the flaccid woman. Flaccid means pale and weak. So Andrew tried desperately now, after injecting the syringe on the body of Susan Morgan, and after that he went on desperately trying to save Susan Morgan. So let me continue. After a few minutes of feverish effort, her heart strengthened. So after a few minutes of desperate effort on the part of Andrew, thank God, now the heart of Susan Morgan is beating at a normal pace. He saw that he might safely leave her because now she is out of danger. He swung round in his shirt sleeves, his hair sticking to his damp brow. Now the important thing is that his body is now full of sweat. He had a very tough time in the evening, and even now also he is moving through a very difficult phase of his professional life, of his career as a doctor. He is moving through a very difficult phase. Now he had to concentrate on the child. Where's the child? The midwife made a frightened gesture. She had placed it beneath the bed. Okay, since the child was stillborn, so the midwife, who was very primitive in her mentality, backdated in her mentality, she placed the child under the bed. In a flash, Andrew knelt down, fishing among the sodden newspaper. Fishing means searching, desperately searching amongst the sodden. Sodden means very old newspapers below the bed. He pulled out the child, a boy, perfectly formed. The limp, warm body was white and soft as tallow. The cord actually means the umbilical cord that all of you had read in biological science in junior class. So that cord means the umbilical cord. Hastily means in a hurried manner, hurriedly slashed, lay like a broken stem. The skin was of a lovely texture, smooth and tender. The head lolled on the thin neck. The limbs seemed boneless. Now the child is perfectly formed, but it is not breathing properly. It haven't cried also. It has a very soft skin like that of animal skin, tallow, that has been written here. But the main important thing is that the child is not responding at all. But the positive thing is that the child has been perfectly formed. So, dear students, I'm stopping right here in this audio lecture session. In my next audio lecture session, I will continue from page number 68. Please listen to it and rectify your doubts if any. Till then, thank you students. Thank you all.